welcome to the Downrock Records arcade for the Downrock Records Starcade Lounge, for the StarcadeLounge.com comic book review. And today I'm going to be reviewing Doctor Strange of Asgard. It's the first issue out of Marvel Comics. You can tell it's going to be a professional set here. I bought this, I guess, last week or a couple weeks ago. I can't remember. But I had promised one of the commenters on my shorts for my video haul, for my comic book haul, that I would be reviewing it for his sake, because he was wondering if he was going to pick it up. And so I figured I'd read it today, get it out of the way, and do my own honest review of the comic book. So let's get up into it. Well, shout out to Red Nails 2 in Toronto. That's where I get all my comic books. I've been getting them there since, I don't know, 92 or 93 or something like that. It's been a long time. Anyway, let's show you the book here. And so this edition, I don't know how many of you have seen this cover. This is a variant edition, and I've gotten a few Marvel comic books with this style here, with the kind of like it's a layout for the costume, like it's a fashion layout, design layout for the costume. And I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of these covers. I kind of just like the stark layout of it. Like, I like the white background, and then I like the sharp, intense colors on the cover. And then I really like the font that they use on the cover here. It's I can't say exactly what style it is. I'm pretty sure it's just something they came up with. But yeah, so that's what drew me in to the book in the first place. And I just think it's an interesting prospect, an interesting concept. Doctor Strange of Asgard. That was the second thing that pulls me in, was, what's this going to be all about? Figured it's going to be Doctor Strange in Asgard with Thor in them. And I like seeing the blends, and I'm not a big two comic book reader. I'm not DC, Marvel. I won't, bash either one, and I don't pit one against the other. It's not my thing. Pardon the mess in the background. Yeah, I'm not a big two reader, so I'm not familiar with exactly where these characters have crossed over before in the past. But I like the idea of, different types of Marvel characters that I guess I wouldn't expect to see together too often in a book or series or whatever. And these two characters together aren't familiar to me, like in the same type of story. So I thought that alone would make for an interesting premise. So right off the bat, the art on the outside, I like the cover. The cover drew me in. I'll say the art on the inside wasn't the greatest. I wasn't really totally feeling it, and I know that comic books weren't necessarily created to win artistic awards. They're really meant for, art to guide you to reading the story. You know what I mean? Like, to give you a visual angle for reading the story that's in them. So I get that that's not necessarily a thing, but myself, coming from an art background, I like to see like good art. And when I got into comic books, like, the art was very important to me, that it'd be good. And it would make or break a lot of comic books for me. And I'm not like that anymore. I kind of just, go with the story. I'll bite the bullet a lot of times with the art if the story's good, and just kind of go ahead and, allow myself to just be simply entertained by it. But, sometimes it's a little jarring. You know what I mean? Like, because you sometimes go back to look at the picture and the art, and you kind of form, if you're particular, you're going to form a judgment about it. Like I said, I'm not like that anymore. But, there are still instances where I prefer to see some real good art. And in this book in particular, I didn't like the art. It's not bad. It's 10 times better than anything I could do, but I wasn't necessarily feeling the art to go with the book. And I'll show you a few instances where I was like, ugh. So there are a lot of instances in the book where, I'm just like, whoa, right? So this instance in particular, um, you know, Loki's looking like a woman here. There's no doubt about it. He's looking like a woman, and I'm not bashing the artist at all, but he looks like a woman. That's just so that it threw me off when I turned the page because I was like, the female character that's in the story kind of looks like this too, like. So I was confused for a second. I was like, is this another female character? Is this just the same one? What's going on? So it took me a while, and then it wasn't until I looked over and saw his name being called that I was like, okay, that's Loki. But yeah, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. And then right here as well, I'm covering up the bubbles to not spoil anything for you, but now Loki looks like a little kid. You know what I mean? Right here, there's a shot, and Loki's missing a tooth. Is it? And then there are a couple more instances where, it's pretty messed up, but it I like I said is I'm not dumping on it. I'm just questioning it, and I'm just not liking it. But that's being nitpickish, and overall, I'm going with the story, right? I'm there for the story, and there are a tiny amount of comic book creators out there that I like, comic book artists that I like, and then there are new ones that I get to see sometimes, and this was just one of those instances where I just didn't necessarily care too much for the art. But I'm like I said, it's just me being nitpicky. It's not going to necessarily take away from the story or anything like that. So keep that in mind if you're gonna buy this book. That just ignore my being an art snob about it. There's nothing really wrong about it. It's just a nitpicky thing, right? Because art is art is in the eye of the beholder. The quality of art is in the eye of the beholder, right? So I try not to dig into that too much, but that's just me coming from that type of background. And when it came to my comic books, I was particular sometimes about the art, but never mind all that. That was Doctor Strange of Asgard, the first edition. You could go and check out the StarcadeLounge.com. There's a link to the Blue Sky for the Blue Sky, where I have a Bump It or Dump It review section for music and for comic books and all kinds of other things. And you can see what I feel about Doctor Strange of Asgard in there, whether I bump it or dump it. And, you could go on and make a decision if you want to buy it as to whether or not you want to pick this up from there. Don't take my word from it. Like I said, I'm not a big two guy. So when it comes to big two books from the big two, like if it's not like, astronomical, I usually won't go for it. But you'll see what I say about this book anyway at the Downrock Records Blue Sky account. Bump It or Dump It. Thanks for watching if you did watch this. Once again, I'll be reviewing a bunch more comic books that I've bought in the past, and then there'll be more to come in the future. It won't necessarily always be like a timely thing. It'll be like when I got time to do it. But I got a lot to read, and so there'll be a lot to review, just in case there are books that you were curious about as well. Until the next, I'll see you again someday. Y'all have a good day, night, whatever it is for you. This is Simon Thompson from the StarcadeLounge.com for the Downrock Records Arcade and be nice to one another, and I'll catch you soon. Peace.